Welcome to the Momentum Ministry Partners podcast. This podcast is designed to provide momentum in our God-given roles of leadership as we partner together to equip today's Christian leaders for tomorrow's opportunities. Whether you're a pastor, youth leader, ministry volunteer, parent, or student, we want to be your go-to and most trusted resource for equipping and encouragement when it comes to your ministry and leadership influence. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
Hello and welcome to the Momentum Ministry Partners podcast. Thanks for joining us today. We're excited to be here. As today's episode, we're going to talk about church awards. This is our 2024 episode of Church Awards as we look at and highlight some of the churches that God is using in amazing ways. We're so excited to have even some pastors with us from our 2024 Church of the Year Award winner. And we'll be sharing some testimonies and stories about all of the different churches and things that God's doing. One of the things that I have seen and known to be true, having been a pastor in churches for over 20 years now, is oftentimes churches can be competitive. You're listening to this and probably thinking, no way, not us. But yes, sometimes if we're honest, which we like to be here on the Momentum podcast, there are times where when churches share their Easter and Christmas numbers and you look at and you think, wow, we'll never have that many people. Or then you hear stories of these churches that have baptized hundreds of people and we get jealous. We think we'd never baptize that many people. Or maybe sometimes pride creeps in and you're like, we had more people at our Christmas service than they did. On today's episode, we want to get rid of all of that. We want to do away with those things, not just for this conversation, but in general. And so as Momentum Ministry Partners connects with local churches, as we aim to help churches thrive, we like to say we want to resource and equip churches, pastors to have maximum impact for God's kingdom. We're going to tell some stories today about ways that we're seeing the Lord move and work, because it really is Him. It really is Him at work in and through us, and oftentimes despite ourselves. So with that rousing introduction, Phil Sparling, you're the senior pastor at Grace Community Church in Auburn, California. We have with us your executive pastor, next gen pastor, Ryan Hooper. Welcome, men.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having us today. That was a good introduction.
Congratulations. You guys are Momentum's 2024 Church of the Year Award winner. And Ryan, I understand that you want to know, first question, what is it? Get it out there.
I'm just wondering if anybody's done back-to-back before. You know? One for a repeat, maybe. I don't know.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, let's kind of dive in here. I want to kind of just set this up here at Momentum as we look to partner with local churches. One of the things that we look for in our Church of the Year award winner, and we have other church awards that we'll kind of dive through in today's episode and we'll talk about. But the Church of the Year award, we really want to look to find a church and celebrate the exceptional vision and impact that your church has had, where you're making an incredible progress. You're seeing people grow not only in their faith, but bringing other people with them. You're creating pathways to reach out and reach into the community. You're raising up disciples, and you're really mobilizing people to serve Jesus, not just as a church staff, but you're truly equipping the saints to do the work of the ministry. And this, honestly, guys, this year, you guys were at the top of the list, and just one that in every way, shape, and form that we kept looking at through our metrics, we're like, man, God's really moving at Auburn Grace. So, Phil, I want to just start with you, turn it over to you. Kind of give us some of the dynamics about your church, give us some context on your staff, and just talk a little bit about the vision that you have there at Grace.
You know, I think, thanks. That's and it's quite an honor to receive this, so we're appreciative of it. We shared it yesterday in church. Everybody in our congregation was excited as well, and so we're privileged to receive this award. So thank you, Momentum, and thank you for what you're doing there. You know, I would say one of the three things that we focused on the last decade or so that has really led us to the place where we're at today. Number one is we really wanted to focus more on the next generation, and so we have put a lot of emphasis on ministry programming and leadership responsibilities, and really just asking the Lord to open the door for next generation impact. So we've gotten younger with our hiring. We've gotten younger with our leadership. We're giving younger leaders more responsibility because we want to raise it up. The second thing is these bridge events. We've been really focusing for the last 10 years on bridge events. Growing up in the church, I think I used to envision the church kind of like a sidewalk. When one end of the sidewalk there's the unchurched, on the other end of the sidewalk is the church. And the door that leads the unchurched into the church community, it was just a simple door. It was a church front door, just get people in the front door. But over the last 30 years, I think it's no longer a door. That sidewalk has been split. There's a big gulf between the church and the unchurched. And now we need a bridge to get over to the other side. And so we have a lot of things here that we call bridge events, where we're not inviting people to a church service. We're inviting them to be on our campus for something, whether it's a men's breakfast or whether it's, a cornvention, which is an alternative to the Halloween. This last Friday night, we had just a community family Christmas where people came and there was food and games for the kids and a train to ride around the neighborhood. It was just a lot of fun, these bridge events. So inviting people to a bridge, not to a door, has been something we've really been focusing on. And then my whole ministry life here at Auburn Grace has been, we want to be a volunteer-driven church. We really believe in the priesthood of believers. And so it's taken a long time, but our people are getting it, when I announced this award in church yesterday, it's a tribute to all of you who volunteer here and the staff that runs those volunteer teams. We require all of our staff. One of the main requirements in their job description is to be able to run volunteer teams, collect, train, and manage volunteer teams. So we're a volunteer-driven church, and that can be a church of any size. Those three things we can do when we were way back smaller, and then medium, and now we're at the size that we're at. Those are same things that we've been implementing the last decade.
Phil, thank you for sharing that. Kind of give us, how long have you been at the church? What's been even the history of Auburn Grace?
Okay, great. We had a church, a Grace Brethren Church in Sacramento that I was at from third grade through seventh grade. That's where I got saved, in the Sacramento Grace Brethren Church. My parents were some solid members there, always serving. My dad was never a pastor, but he did pretty much everything else. In 1976, my parents moved us to Auburn, 30 miles away, and then another family moved here, and then another family moved here from the church. Then the pastor said to my parents, "Why don't you guys start a Bible study and see what God does in Auburn?" And so my parents and these other two families started a Bible study in 1978, and it became bigger and larger, and it became our church. So I grew up here. I went off to Bible college, came back, worked in construction for 6 years. And then in 91, the church hired me as the children and youth pastor. And then 94, I took the place of the pastor who went to plant another church. So amazing. I've been the pastor here 30 years. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being faithful to the Lord and just following that path and maybe even outlasting other people. So That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Phil, why don't you tell us a little bit about your staff makeup, brag on your team here a little bit, who all has helped kind of make this an epic banner year?
Yeah, we have a wonderful staff. We have a couple of full-time, but we've been blessed. It's interesting here in our community because there's a lot of specialists kind of out there that are people of faith. So we have people here that work 1 day a week or 2 days a week. We probably have a total of about 20 people that we would consider on staff, but that might be anywhere from 8 to 12 hours to 15 hours a week. We only have, I think, 5 full-time staff. We have an office manager and then 4 pastors on staff. The rest of them are volunteers. And so that has really allowed us to specialize. For example, the great guy that does our graphics, Eli, he has a full-time job and he just does this 6 or 7 hours a week in the evenings and on weekends for us. So, but we just, Ryan can attest to this. The Lord has really blessed us with a great staff. We have a lot of harmony and unity. there's a couple of cultural dynamics that we have that I think are really, really impacting the quality of our staff. So they're hard workers, and they love the Lord, and they're as that saying, they're hungry and humble, as we like to say. So what's a great staff. And I can tell because when I'm away, I have no doubts or fears about what's going on here. We had an incident in our family just last week where I needed to be away, and all of our events from this past week went on without a hitch, just because we have a great staff.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Well, Ryan, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you've wore a lot of different hats there at the church, so kind of give us your history and context and how long you've been there as well.
Yeah, so I joined Auburn Grace it'd be 3 years in April since I came to the church, and started kind of next gen pastor, overseeing a lot of student ministry, family ministry, college age, kind of looking at after a couple different things there. And this past year I took on a different role of executive pastor. We had one of our former pastors here was here for 12, 13 years, and ended up retiring and moving to Tennessee. So kind of stepped into that role just recently. But before that, kind of served in a couple different areas as Christian school administrator, and as a youth pastor in North Carolina. So kind of been able to see a lot of different things. But Auburn Grace is great, man. It's a great church, and as Phil said, we have a great staff that they work hard, and we really try to pour into them and see what their giftings are and really utilize those. And God's blessed us. We have a lot of different people here on our staff that just love the Lord and want to serve Him. And so we try to invest in them and help pour into them. And God's doing some really good stuff here.
Yeah, just let me jump in and say, when we hired Ryan, we wanted to do something different. We hired Ryan to be the next gen pastor, but his job was to build volunteer and leadership teams for next gen ministries. His job was not to run them himself. And so he's kind of like the ministry equipping pastor. And so he's done a great job. And then when our executive pastor retired, Ryan has moved into that role. By the way, the other thing Ryan said when we were notified about this award was, the former executive pastor never won this, And so
there's just one change, and
I love it.
One change, because Ryan's been hearing a lot, well, that's not the way Pastor Dave would do it. That's not the way Pastor Dave did it. And so now it's like, hey, dude, we won Church of the Year.
There you go.
Dave never did that.
Brag on him. Oh, that's so good. Nice. Well, Ryan, kind of walk us through what's been a win that you've seen as you've been able to really identify, build teams, raise up volunteers. There's so much going on. I know we could sit and talk and tell stories for a long time, but as you look back, even just in this past year, what's something that really stands out to you specifically as you've built teams and kind of equipped people? And I know you've added to your staff and replacing yourselves, working people out of jobs because they're getting it and building teams themselves. What's been one of the coolest things that you've seen this past year?
I think one of the coolest things is, in student ministry in particular, we have a resident intern that's doing some work here, and I'm able to pour into him, and he's pouring into students, and we've seen our youth group with our students just tremendously just kind of take off. And it's been really neat because we have a lot of kids that are starting to come that come from different backgrounds. They're not church background. Their parents don't necessarily go to church here, but they've been invited and they've been coming. And in particular, there's a young lady who just lost her father, and has in years ago lost her mom. And, she gave her life to the Lord. God's been doing some good stuff through our kids and our students. And it's just been neat to see, how when you equip your leaders to go out and do what God has called them to do, and then to see the fruit come from that, it's been awesome to sit back and be able to watch. And one of the big things that we're big on here is getting and being a part of our community, not just talking about it, but actually going out and doing that. And, one really cool win for us, I think this past weekend, we had our family, what we call our family Christmas night, and our church is kind of located right near a decent sized neighborhood. And for so many years, we've kind of done our programs and taken up all the parking, and it's probably a nightmare for these people, but the head guy of the homeowners association came and was kind of like talking about how can we connect, how can we bridge this, and so we talked, he did like a light competition in the community. And so we got a little train that we rented that could hold about 16 people. The train took them around the neighborhood, and people got to vote for the best lights on the house. And it was just a way to kind of piece together the community aspect in the church, and so many times we want people to come to church, but we can just say it, but we don't actually put hands and feet to get out in the community and meet people where they are and actually try to bring them in and to be a light, to our community. And so I thought that was a really cool kind of way, because for so many years that never took place. And now we have this connection, and next year is probably going to be even more. And it's kind of started a relationship with the people here, in our community. So not just seeing people come to know the Lord, but just getting out, being in our community, letting people know that, hey, we care, that Auburn Grace loves you, God loves you, and we want you to be a part of what God's doing here.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like we started a couple of years ago having people that getting baptized to write out their testimony, and then they share it right before they're baptized. And when I listen to those testimonies, what excites me is how they say, I was going through this difficult time, and so really helped me come back to the Lord. And that so-and-so in that testimony is not a church service. It's not me. It's not necessarily even a staff person, but it's somebody in our congregation that is just reaching out to their friends and to their neighbors, and connecting them to the Lord. And so that's super exciting. Yeah, that's a big win.
I love it. Well, guys, this is fantastic stuff. I know that there are so many churches out there who are on mission for the Lord. God's at work in and through their congregation. And so we never want the church award winners to be like the biggest church, or the ones that have the biggest budget, or the ones that have, whatever. And so honestly, a lot of the times what we see is there can be division or comparison, and there can be these things that, like, as pastors, if we're honest, we all can do this at times where, we get jealous about God being at work in other ministries, or we think, man, I could do that. And there's all these ideas and creativity and vision, but implementing it is such a big deal. And Phil and Ryan, that's something that I've seen you guys do with excellence, is when you have an idea, when you get this, it doesn't matter if it's connecting with the park that's right there near your church, or sports ministry, or a family that comes, or connecting with people of other ethnicities. Like, I just continue to watch you guys be obedient to what the Lord asks, and you follow the thread all the way through from start to finish. Phil, I love that example, even of the bridge events and those opportunities, and seeing them as not a door, but we're going to walk this journey with people. Last question maybe for you. Share a story, if you would, about maybe from this past year. Pick one of those things. What's something where you've really seen life change in a key person or a ministry that you'd like to tell the listening audience to?
Yeah, I could start that if you don't mind. I think one of the coolest things, I don't think that we have this like crazy formula that's unique to Auburn. I think it's just for us, we look for opportunities to make a difference and change lives. And so for us, we went this summer. We went to Urban Hope there with Tim Lansing in L.A. And a lot of times we think that we have to have a big, huge group for there to be success, or to tell ourselves that we're doing a great job in ministry. And we put this out to our students, and like we had like 8 that signed up for it, and you're thinking to yourself, oh man, this is going to be not going to be good, because I don't have 30, 40, 60 kids going, whatever. But we took about 8 students down there, and Tim was awesome, man. He just poured into our kids and just taught them how to share their faith. He taught them how to get out of their comfort zone. He taught them how to, just look past the comfort of their lifestyles and see how other people live and other people interact. And we went and we fed people. We went on the beach and we talked to people about Jesus. And I'm telling you, man, of all the things that we do here at our church, our students that went to that's the only thing they talk about. It's the only thing that they're like, that was the best thing that I've experienced, And it's funny because so many times we try to make these dynamic programs that are going to just appeal to the masses, which there's a place for that. But, getting to the roots of what we're called to do, training kids to share their faith. And, even my own son, who's 15, he went there and he's like, Dad, that changed my life. Like he said, I'm more willing to talk to people about Jesus now. And I think that's, a testament to God, but also what he's doing there at Urban Hope and Tim and his team. And, I just think that for those core students, they brought that back and they brought that energy back. And we're talking to their peers about it. And now this year when we go, I assume we probably will have a lot more that will go because of the impact that it had on those students. And I've seen them reach out to new people when they come to youth. I've seen them talk to people at different opportunities that they've been given. So it's been awesome, man. I think that was a huge success for us in seeing ministry growth in just that small group of students that went.
That's really cool, Ryan. Thanks for sharing that story. And if you're not familiar with Urban Hope, that's also what is known as our now Momentum Urban Centers. And so we have one in LA and one in Philadelphia. And Ryan, buddy, you hit the nail on the head because there is something beautiful about when we get out of our comfort zones and we're willing to go and connect with other people, and having people there to train and equip you. That's a big deal. But then getting to bring that back into your local community. And for those students, your son especially, to be able to see the light bulb go on of if I can do it there, I can do it here. And so I love hearing those connections. That's fun. Phil, do you got a story?
Well, I would talk about Julie. Julie is a single mom, went through a terrible divorce. Her mother died, who was a follower of Jesus. That really shook her, and she just kind of gave up on things, gave up on her faith for a long time, kind of went her own way. Her dad stayed strong, and she just kind of wandered for a while. Her dad started encouraging her. After mom died, Julie and her kids moved in with dad. She started trickling into church once in a while, and then the Lord just really grabbed her life, and it was through Grief Share. It was through some people in our church just befriending her, and she rededicated her life to the Lord this past year and a half. And one of the things we did this year is we have a light parade here in Auburn, a little Christmas light parade. And it's hugely popular. Probably 10,000 people come into town to just watch this hokey, small town, family float parade. But we were walking down the parade route, and there's Julie walking with our float, declaring Jesus to the community, waving at people. She's not ashamed to be associated with Jesus, and she's publicly encouraging people, inviting them. Merry Christmas. Julie's just been a great example of God transforming a life. For years here, we've had a company come in and clean our facility on Fridays. We thought we could be better stewards of our money. And so we put a job out there, a little part-time job, just come throughout a couple times a week. Julie applied for it. And now she's on our staff for 10 hours a week, 12 hours a week. And wow, her life is just so different. The Lord really grabbed her. And that's been a great story here at Auburn Grace.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you guys for being willing to share some of these stories, some of these wins. Um, it's so fun when we can just kind of pause and look back on all that God is doing in and through our team. So we really do here at Momentum. We hope that this has encouraged not only your staff, but your congregation, the community. So just continue to celebrate, continue to do a good work for the Lord. We cannot thank you enough for even your partnership with us here at Momentum and just the example you are to others to keep going, to keep fighting for the Lord, to keep doing what he calls you to do. And we cannot celebrate and honor you enough in that and rejoice with you. So thanks, guys, both for being a part of this.
Thanks, Eric, and thanks for what you guys are doing there.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. Well, to our listening audience, we're going to take a break here and we're going to tell you on the other side about some of the other church award winners and share some of the stories and the testimonies that they've had as well. And all the things that God is doing in and through not just the local church, but the Capital C Church as well. It's exciting. We know that if you hang with us here through the end of this episode, you're going to be blessed, encouraged, and maybe have some new ideas or two of things that you can do within your local church to have impact in your community and reach people for the gospel as well. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Ryan. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
All right, we want to continue our conversation here about church award winners, and I'm delighted to announce that Momentum seeks to partner with local churches all over the country. And as we look back on the year of 2024 and think about all of the church partners, the places, the people that God has been just moving and doing incredible things through, we're excited to just celebrate with a few of these churches. So first and foremost, I want to read off the list of winners here of church awards and the names of the churches, the recipients who won, and then we'll talk about just the criteria for those winners. And if you'll allow me, I'd love to share some stories just about the incredible impact and highlight some of the things that God's doing in these churches. So stick around. I'm sure you'll catch some ideas and even see some themes of all that God's doing and the ways that he's moving and working among his church. It's incredible. I'm encouraged by reading all these and hearing the stories, the wins, the testimonies. It is absolutely amazing. So I trust that as you follow along the rest of this journey with us, you'll be encouraged and excited about all that God's doing as well. So with no further ado, our 2024 Church on the Rise Award winner is the Bridge Church in Martinsburg, West Virginia. Pastor Andrew Leisure has been doing an incredible job. This award goes out to, we've given this for 4 or 5 years now, and this award always goes out to a church that is experiencing significant growth and momentum in both spiritual impact and community engagement. This is a church that's reaching people in new and fresh ways and trying to create space to let those new believers grow and belong and to thrive. So I'll tell you a few stories about that here in a minute as well. Our 2024 Breakthrough Church of the Year is Hope City Church in Norwalk, California. Congratulations to Pastor Oscar Chavez and the team there. This award is given to a church that is not only given up, but they are determined to glorify God in all that they do and say by overcoming significant obstacles or challenges. And as a result, they're seeing God allow them to enter a new season of ministry as they reach their community. So congratulations, Hope City Church, for being our 2024 Breakthrough Church of the Year. Next up, we have the Reaching the Next Generation Church Award. This 2024 award goes to the Grace Church Bath campus for all the ways that they have reached the next generation and continue to do that by being innovative and creative, cutting edge in even just their commitment to reach the next generation, regardless of the sacrifice or the cost. We've seen them do that in incredible ways, and we'll share some of those stories here as well soon. All right, next up, the Equipping the Next Generation. So reaching the next generation, now equipping the next generation. This is a church award that goes to Martinsburg Grace Brethren Church in Martinsburg, Pennsylvania. Congratulations to Pastor Brian McCall, and the team there. This award goes to a church that is focused on putting all of its resources and time and energy into intentionally equipping young people so that they can grow spiritually and develop godly leaders who would learn to serve with grit. Next up, we have our 2024 Momentum Partner of the Year Church Award. We have a lot of awards this year. We were excited, and God's just been moving in incredible ways. So our 2024 Momentum Partner Church of the Year goes to Winona Lake Grace. You guys are doing an amazing job of not just partnering with Momentum, but also partnering with other local organizations, Grace College there in Winona Lake, and many other key ministries. So we'll share some stories about that. And then finally, our Church of the Year Award goes out to Community of Outreach, our Community Outreach Church of the Year Award. This one, there's so many amazing churches, but this one we couldn't pick just one winner. So we have two winners. We have two churches that have won the Community Outreach Church of the Year Award, and that goes to Mosaic Church in Wadsworth, Ohio, and also the Remedy Nation Church in Akron, Ohio. Both of those churches are doing an amazing job of just reaching beyond the church walls to serve and impact the community around them. They're seeing growth come to their church, but ultimately to God's kingdom because of that, and all the innovative ways that they are using the resources that they've been given to reach out to give the hope of Jesus to the world around them and transforming the lives of the people in their community and seeing significant growth because of that. So those are our Momentum 2024 Church of the Year Award winners. Congratulations. Well, you not only got to hear a little bit about the Church of the Year Award with Grace Auburn and Phil and Ryan. We asked some of our church award winners just to submit some things that they're doing, and we could take hours to tell these stories and to share all these things. But not only am I losing my voice because of talking about all the ways that God's been at work, I could go completely mute because of it. There's been amazing stories, and Andrew Leisure at the Bridge Church, he kind of sent us some stories, and I got to connect with him on the phone. This past year has been amazing, and so they won the Church on the Rise Award. Well-deserved. They've been working their tails off. Andrew and Keith there in Martinsburg, West Virginia, they're doing an incredible job. This last year, they were able to create an elder board. They put a deacon board together. They've been investing in new leaders. Andrew even told me a story about how he had to kind of decide whether he was going to invest in the youth ministry or adults, in addition to preaching Sunday morning and leading the mission and vision of the church. And they've been working with Assist Church Expansion. They've been strategizing. It's been awesome to see all the ways that they've grown and learning how to do ministry in their community. But Andrew decided that he was going to give away some of their adult ministry to other people in the church, and God bless that, and it's taken off, and they're having new small groups start and being developed. And then he started teaching the youth ministry on Sunday nights and investing in the students and equipping the parents, and it's just been amazing to see what God's done in and through their student ministry. I think even right now, as I'm recording this episode, they're working on renovating their building to make more space for students because they outgrew the youth room that they had dedicated. So Andrew's given up his office in order to even have a larger room for students to meet in. That's an amazing opportunity. They've been coming up with all kinds of creative ways to reach out into their community. They've had Super Bowl parties and tea parties, morning breakfast, prayer meetings, literally doing anything and everything they can just to continue to influence the community around them. And then I told you about their student ministries just taken off. It's just been awesome. So here's some stats. This past year, they saw 14 salvations, that 35 baptisms. They've got 60 students regular attending across their church on Sunday mornings through kids ministry, student ministry, worship tech, first impressions, their security team. It's amazing to see people getting plugged in and connected, and God's doing incredible work in and through them. So congratulations to the Bridge Church on being a 2024 Church of the Year winner. The next church that I want to brag on and talk about here is our Breakthrough Church of the Year with Pastor Oscar Chavez being at Hope City Church in Norwalk, California. They recently, just in this past year, they kind of felt the need to put a new vision together and a strategic plan to really help equip them in order to have discipleship and leadership development. And so Pastor Oscar, the leadership there at that church, they realized that they needed to just invest in a Spanish ministry. And so not only did they rebrand, they renamed the church, but they put together teams to do outreach and discipleship and leadership development, and then started the Spanish ministry. And so they have grown to having now over 40 attendees who are participating in Bible studies and discipleship classes, Sunday services, all within the Spanish-speaking community. And so that's been amazing. Their community outreach has taken off. They have adopted and renewed a strategic plan to really connect with other community partners and outreach events. And they've just seen God bless that. They have a new leadership development program where leaders are learning to build teams, to intentionally invest and disciple in each other. And that's cultivating growth and enthusiasm within the church. They launched a hospitality and a follow-up team. First Impressions is kind of at the start of that, but it goes way beyond that, helping people really learn to take next steps, not only in their faith, but also in leadership roles at the church. And just even then doing the hard work of redoing the governance and their values and putting the right people in the right seats. It's just been awesome to see. So I want to highlight some of the wins from Hope City Church. And one story just even came from a man who was attending their Spanish ministry and got connected. He loved being able to come to a church where he could understand the gospel in his language. And now he's regular bringing his family, and he serves in their outreach events and is helping tell other people about the Lord. And they started a vacation Bible club. They had a single mom who started coming from that, and she's now well connected and volunteering in their kids ministry. They've went and passed out flyers door to door just to let people know about the church and being there in the community. And they've seen one man who started coming, who's now connected because of the flyers, and he's an active member in their church and helping go out and tell other people about it. Pastor Tim and Oscar are doing an amazing job. They're got lots of stories about just wins. And so we want to celebrate with them and say, well done for all of the things, the efforts that you've been investing time and resources in. They've seen this past year 15 baptisms. They've welcomed 18 new members. And it's just really cool to see how God has grown and developed that team and just continue to help equip them with all that the new name and the new church has been about, starting those ministries. It's been fun to watch. So next award, equipping the next generation with the Martinsburg Grace Church. It's just been fun to see what they're doing and investing the resources that they have into equipping the next generation. This is a church that they do that with tenacity and grit. They are faithful to think that Pastor Ryan Ritchie is not only their worship pastor, but their next gen pastor. He's doing an incredible job. Jerry and the leadership team with the kids ministry, they're doing amazing things. But they talk so much about making sure that the students understand that they are not just a part of the future of the church, but they're part of the church today. And they teach, they help encourage them that the same Holy Spirit who lives inside of us as adults lives inside of those students, and that God has a purpose and a plan for their life, and he wants to use them. So they've seen that in their college ministry. They've seen that in their worship ministry. They are strategically working to develop next generation leaders, and they're giving these students, even from a young age in their kids ministry, opportunities to serve, to lead worship, all the way up through their college students and their college ministry. And so they just have a ton of stories here about even volunteer youth leaders and 40 students who are serving monthly in student-led ways with tech and sound, social media, their welcome team, their prayer teams. It's unbelievable to see the ways that God is moving and working in and through them. They've taken 12 students and 4 mentors through the Momentum Marketplace program, and even just helping equip them and understanding that work isn't a part of the curse, and it's we're all created to be a part of God's kingdom, and you get to use those gifts and abilities now in the church. But I really wanted to share this one highlight with you guys that their students are just completely owning the student ministry, which Ryan said they just keep bringing their friends and people from other community groups. These students are coming out of the woodwork, both in their children's ministry and in their youth ministry. And I say that's primarily because of how you're equipping those students to understand that God loves them and that He has a purpose and a plan for their lives, but He also wants to include them in the work of the ministry. It's incredible to see. Keep up the good work. Congratulations to Martinsburg Grace on the Equipping Next Generation Award. So the Reaching Next Generation Award, Grace Church Bath Campus, you guys are amazing, from Pastor Jeff all the way down. Really, this award is for Pastor Brad Dietz Creek, who works with the Next Gen team, and Pastor Josiah with the college ministry, and Pastor Todd with youth ministry, and Christy Keir with the children's ministry. And just an amazing job of how you guys are being creative. You're thinking outside of the box. You're seeing exponential growth, using and leveraging things like your sports ministries, the ways that you're using your building to be creative, to help equip and reach families is just unbelievable to see. And so we want to celebrate you all in all the ways that you're reaching and equipping next generation. All right, now we want to talk about the Outreach Church of the Year Award. These two churches are doing an amazing job of helping to equip in their communities, but not only just to equip, they're living on mission. And so again, this is a church that's constantly reaching beyond their walls to serve and impact its community. And so Mosaic Church in Wadsworth and Remedy Church in Akron, here's a few stories I want to celebrate with them. So first, I'll talk about the Remedy Church in Akron winning this award. That I couldn't even list the number of outreach opportunities that they have. Pastor Deontay Lavender and his whole team are doing an unbelievable job of helping strategically think through and partner with other organizations and who are community nonprofits and other organizations who are actually meeting needs physically, but ultimately to help bridge that gap to learn the spiritual needs in the community, and that partnership, those things that do both meet the physical needs in order to meet the spiritual needs. They're strategic in that. It's been amazing to see. This past year, they did a shoe giveaway. That's been a big community outreach that they've done now for a number of years. Check this out. They give away brand new shoes because they say it will help increase a student's confidence, but it also gives them a positive spin on their mental health. They also, at this event, not only do they give away free shoes, which, oh, by the way, they gave away 6,000 pairs of new shoes to children in their community. They also gave away free haircuts. They do physicals. They gave away food. It's just this amazing community event where they get to partner with a lot of other churches and organizations in the community. This one I love. They do a voter mobilization program. It's really to help increase voter awareness and encourage participation. They partner with over 20 local organizations to come together to help register community members to vote and encourage them to pray for people in authority. They did a Feed the 5,000. This is an amazing story. Last year, 2023, they said, let's do a event called Feed the 500. And they had over 4,000 people show up at this event. And so they provided 4,000 meals. And so they said, you know what, this year, 2024, we need to add a zero on the end of that, our 500. So this year they did a Feed the 5,000 back in November, and they were actually able to serve over 6,000 meals to people in the community. And again, just partnering with other organizations in the Akron area, just incredible what they're doing in just a number of hours the day of that event. They get real creative with things like a citywide baby shower that they've done in the past. They do a monthly community pantry where they're giving out food and non-perishables, and groceries to people. They do an angel tree event every year that they partner up with lots of different ministries to do. It's just, the list goes on and on and on about what Remedy Nation is doing. But one of my favorite things that they're doing is they donate presents to the children in the cancer unit at Akron Children's Hospital. So these are amazing ideas. They're being innovative. And honestly, just watching this church this past year, God is blessing them. He's doing incredible things through their efforts. And they could share story after story after story about all the life change that's been happening, the people who are coming to know Christ because their physical needs have been met, and now they're able to share the gospel. And we love seeing that. The other side of this, our other church award winner for the Community Outreach Church of the Year is Mosaic Church. Pastor Adam Barton in Wadsworth, Ohio. They got to baptize 41 people this past year, and they just had their highest attended non-holiday service just a few weeks ago. It's been unbelievable to see how the vision and the mission of this church has been played out. They say that they're a church for people who don't think church is for them, and they're really working hard to reach out in the community, to invest in the people around them. This isn't something that they say that they want to do as a part of their church, but it's core to their DNA of who they are as a church. They've worked hard to have that invite culture where people are constantly inviting their friends, and they know that it's not just the work of the pastors or the staff, but that we all get to invite people. And so they do this strategically through a number of ways. In Wadsworth, downtown Wadsworth, they do a monthly event, first Friday of each month, and the church is leaned on heavily for each and every month. Those events, the Mosaic Church, they have the storefront downtown Wadsworth, and they've been used in incredible ways just to help be a trusted partner in the downtown community. Even Adam, the pastor there, is on the downtown partnership team and leadership team, and the community is leaning in on the church to help brainstorm and create fun environments and things for the community to do, partnering with all those organizations. So much so that they bought the building next to them and they turned it into a coffee shop that also doubles as their youth room and their community room. And so they're getting to use that coffee shop in lots of ways as just another way to serve the community and to point people to Jesus. And they've done a great job of not having it be, in your face Christian, but really just serving good coffee and having good snacks and food and good service. And it's just been really cool to see. All of that has led to them starting a service on Thursday night, because as statistics say that 30% of the workforce works on the weekend, and with the increase of children's sports events and all kinds of things, we're realizing that a lot of people who don't think church is for them can't even attend on a Sunday morning. And so they started a Thursday night service, and that service this past year has grown and it's thriving. And they've found providing a way for the people who are doing ministry and serving at their Sunday morning services. It's an opportunity for them just to get to be a part of the church as well. And so it's just incredible what they're doing. But I want to brag on Pastor Adam, and one of the fun things that they did this past year, they kind of decided that with all these new first-time guests who are coming and who are getting plugged into their church because of connections being made in their community, Pastor Adam decided that we're going to start a small group just for first-time guests, and he hosts it in his living room with him and his wife, Lisa, and they're inviting these groups to come in and be a part of it. They've ran 5 different groups this past year that are designed just to give these new people an introduction for the first time in their church, and they've seen over a 90% retention rate of the people who are coming through this life group that they're doing in the pastor's house. It's just incredible. You guys, God is doing so much in and through these churches. And the last, but certainly not least church that I want to celebrate and just honor is Winona Lake Grace for winning the 2024 Momentum Partner Church of the Year. You guys have been such an encouragement to us here at Momentum. Our website is Build Momentum. We say all the time we want to help build momentum in the local church. And to Pastor Kip Cohn and the whole team there at Winona Lake Grace, you guys have been an unbelievable encouragement. You've prayed for us. You partner with us. You've bent over backwards to serve not only Momentum Ministry Partners, but also other organizations there in your community. You guys have a gas day that you help provide gas for people that are in need in their vehicles. You provide meals. You partner with Grace College, the number of students that are at Grace College who are looking to go into full-time ministry, and you're helping to give internship opportunities and leadership positions, and you're allowing them to be around your staff and to learn from them and volunteer. And it is unbelievable the ways that you're using and leveraging all of the resources that God has given you to have maximum impact for his kingdom. Keep up the great work. God is using you in powerful ways. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. We trust that you have been encouraged by these stories of all that God is doing at work in the lives of his church.
Thank you for joining us for this episode. We hope you found it to be valuable. And if you did, would you share it with someone else in your network who might enjoy it? Also, would you please go on and subscribe, rate, and review it? That way you don't miss any more, and somebody else will be able to find it too. Also, because we want to be your trusted resource, if you have a question or topic that you would like us to discuss on an upcoming episode, send that to us via email to info@buildmomentum.org, or you can send us a DM on any of our social media platforms. You can find us there at Momentum Ministry Partners. Also, if you need more information on our ministry, be sure to check out our website at buildmomentum.org. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you next time.